Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have a story here. This story here is crazy. Um, I'm just gonna go straight on into it.
Did you have chemo treatment and get a port catheter, like a barred power port? You might qualify for fun.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show.
And shout out to Brian Enton Investigates on YouTube. Shout out to him.
I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. You guys know a lot of the stories that I cover can be pretty disturbing, but this is especially bad. This story out of Michigan, there's a mother who's been arrested for cutting her granddaughter out of her daughter, like literally cutting the baby out and killing and torturing her daughter. It's beyond words, and
It's
there's
sick.
other family members who have now been allegedly tied in and also arrested, and it's this whole twisted circle that is coming to light in Michigan related to this crime. This girl was missing, and now all of the details are coming out about what happened to her and what happened to her poor baby. I'm going to dig into all the latest in this episode of Brian.
I'll be right back in a second,
Hey
y'all.
guys,
Hold on.
so this story, like I said, is really a tough one. The details of what happened are really unimaginable. 22-year-old Rebecca Park just viciously attacked, and her baby was cut out of her, and she was reportedly tortured. And the suspects are her biological mother and her biological mother's husband. Their names are 40-year-old Courtney Bartholomew, that's the biological mother, and 47-year-old Bradley Allen Bartholomew. Now, this happened northwest of Cadillac, Michigan, in the small town of Boone, Michigan. Rebecca's body was found just before Thanksgiving. She was reportedly 38 weeks pregnant. It all started when she was reported missing by family members. There was this massive search that went on for days for her. There were different police agencies involved. There were search dogs. There were air assets. Rebecca's body was found near a place called the Manistee National Forest, and it was actually volunteers who were out searching for her that discovered her. Again, there's so many disturbing parts of this, but her baby was not with her when they found her, according to law enforcement. The baby was cut out of her. Park was due to give birth on November 18th. Family says that she was already 1 centimeter dilated the day before she went missing. I watched the entire arraignment. Obviously her mother and then her mother's husband were both arraigned. It was emotional. You could hear family members crying and gasping in the courtroom. You could see some had their heads down in their laps. I mean, people were very, very disturbed. Prosecutors say the couple created a plan, that this was very much planned. They conducted research. The prosecutor said that they brought Rebecca Park to their home. They put her in a car. They drove her out. They took her into the woods, and then they stabbed her, and they forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out of her. Ultimately, they caused her death, and they caused the death of the baby, according to police. It's as heinous and awful a case as there can be. That is what the prosecutor said. Those were the prosecutor's words. She called it premeditated torture. And she said it was Courtney Bartholomew, the mother, who brought Rebecca into the woods. Her daughter was then tortured, and the prosecutor said it was evil personified. Rebecca's body was found, but from all the recent reports that I've been looking over, the baby's body has not been found yet. So we don't know where they took the baby, who is apparently not alive. The public defender representing the boyfriend of the fiat, Bradley Allen Bartholomew, said that he's represented him before. He's not concerned that he would be a flight risk. He was basically trying to get this guy bond, despite how serious this is. Said he's extremely low income. Obviously, the bond was denied. The judge denied bond. For Courtney Bartholomew, the public defender said that she has a criminal history, but nothing serious, nothing quite like this. Again, the public defender said that she had contact with her before, represented her family members in the past. It seems like this whole family's been in trouble before. And the public defender tried to play up her strong ties to the area, again, trying to get her a bond, saying that she has disabilities, but no surprise there. The judge said bond was denied. These are very, very serious charges, obviously. When the hearing ended and the judge decided no bond, you could see Courtney doing this very weird thing, waving her hands around. This was just strange. And I don't know if she was trying to get the judge's attention or what, but it was weird. In another twist, Rebecca Park's fiance, Richard Taylor, and her sister, Kimberly Park, were also both arrested. Kimberly Park, whose bail set at $750,000, was arraigned on charges of tampering with evidence, lying to a police officer, and filing a false report. Thaler, whose bond is set at $1 million, was arraigned on 2 counts of delivering methamphetamine. Detectives alleged the sister lied to police when she claimed that their stepfather had struck Park in the head, causing a seizure, and then took her body away. So sort of another strange choice about how they may be involved, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Of course, the big question is what the motive could be for cutting Rebecca's baby out of her. Did they want to hurt the baby, or was it about taking the baby or selling the baby? According to MLive, friends say Rebecca Park was not in contact much with her biological mother. She was raised by an adopted mother. Investigators are not saying much about motive at this point. The charges against the mother and stepfather, they do provide some clues. They include first-degree premeditated murder, torture, and unlawful imprisonment, and assault with intent to cause miscarriage or stillbirth. And also there's a misdemeanor of removal of a dead body. The local prosecutor is getting help from the Michigan Attorney General's office with the case. The AG released a statement of their own that says Rebecca had everything to live for, and our hearts are with her, with her loved ones as they endure this unthinkable loss. We are committed to working alongside the Wexford County Prosecuting Attorney's Office to ensure justice is pursued in this tragic case.
Sorry, y'all, I'm back.
When we started the Milan Law, it was just me and my wife, Brent. Since then,
County Prosecuting Attorney's Office to ensure justice is pursued in this tragic case without delay. So did you know that your personal data
tap screen for me, please.
Online by
tap screen for me, please.
Anyone can buy your personal details. It is so disturbing. I mean, we've all Googled ourselves. And you see your name, you can find your phone number, address, everything is out there. It's on so many sites. It puts us all at risk for a whole host of things like identity theft, becoming a target of phishing scams, potential stalking, honestly a ton more. I mean, the list goes on what can happen with this information. And that is why I'm so happy to tell you about our sponsor, Delete Me. Delete Me helps you keep your personal info private, which is so important to me and so important to everyone right now, especially with all the stuff that's online. I use Delete Me, and honestly, I mean, it's crazy what I found. I had no idea. There were so many sites with my personal info. They found, as of now, and it's still growing, 136 companies with my info posted.
Yeah, I got all my notes again.
And they're working to remove all of it. Look at all of these different websites. Imagine how long it would have taken me to do all of this myself, to contact each site and to say, hey, remove my data. And the thing is with Delete Me, they don't stop once all your personal data is removed. They will keep monitoring the sites for you so your info doesn't find its way back on there again. They keep watching. Using Delete Me has given me peace of mind about my family too, because if someone buys your data, like via data broker, they can see all the information about your relatives too. So Delete Me doesn't just protect you, it also protects your whole family. Right now, you can get 20% off Delete Me and protect your own personal data when you go to joindeleteme.com/investigates and use promo code investigates at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/investigates, promo code investigates.
I'm joined now by Steve Moore, former FBI agent. Steve and I are both everybody's sick right now, so our voices sound a little weird, but I appreciate you coming on, especially for this case, because there's so many unanswered questions, and it's disturbing. And my first question for you is, what do you think the motive could be here for the biological mother to cut the baby out of her daughter?
You know, you can kill somebody, you can torture them without doing that. So I don't think it's a crime of passion. I think it's a crime where they wanted something. What they could get for the baby, what they thought they could get, I don't know. But I don't think that there was a lot of sober thinking about this. I think that this is probably as much drug-fueled as it was insanity-fueled. And so what they were doing, they may not even have a great idea of it now. But I would say the only thing that comes to mind right off is selling the child.
When it seems like, based on watching the court hearings, you know, a lot of these people involved have criminal histories. The one extended family member got arrested on meth, you know, lots of meth charges and that kind of thing, selling meth.
Oh, meth heads, no wonder.
You think that in
tap screen, please. Please
Yeah,
tap screen.
I actually do.
Tap screen, please.
People who do meth habitually tend not to have great ideas, and so I think it is possible. I mean, you're kind of looking at around the backside of the curtain, you know, a backstage of life, and seeing the worst of it right now. And what they were thinking when they get to this point, when you have people who are willing to do this, what must their mindset be? What must their logical thought process be if they are already to the point of being willing to cut out, if the charges are true, your daughter's baby to sell your grandchild? I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, and, you know, the accusations are it was the biological mother and then her husband who did this together and tortured her.
Right.
I'm just thinking, I mean, you know, for one person alone to be in such a crazy state to be able to do that, but when you have two people, I mean, you'd think one would be like, what the heck are we doing? Like, involved. That's hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, it really is, Brian, and I can tell you that in the course of the FBI, seeing stuff like
we
the
back.
realization that sometimes evil is so real that you just have to accept that these things happen.
Hell?
Somebody once told me, and I tried to tell my agents, if you can understand this, there's something wrong with you. And so the fact that we can't understand it should be kind of an encouragement.
1 second, y'all.
Be like some kind of cult. I'm just thinking, like, to do that to your own daughter and your own grandchild, it's almost like it could be a cult thing, or, you know what I mean? Or you think it's just the drugs?
I think it's just the drugs, because if you're in a cult, you have some sort of discipline usually. Cults require you to study, to follow, to devote yourself to something, however bent it is. And they don't seem to have had the wherewithal to do anything but take drugs. So I would, if I had to put this in a universe right now, the universe would be one in which their entire life was their next hit. Nothing else mattered. They had gotten to that point. So how do we ensure that the hits keep on coming? And that is to have more money. And they may have come to a point where they were destitute, broke, or owed people money who might have hurt them very badly for this. So I think you have people who have just reached the end of their civilized existence.
Who buys a baby, like, in a situation like this?
I mean, I have worked cases where children are sold. I have never worked a case where babies are sold. And that they thought that they could sell a baby is possibly more indicative of their delusions or the delusions of somebody who said they would buy it. I can't even imagine who would buy and how they could think they could sell.
I just want to go over some of the charges again, because we still don't know motive, but maybe the charges give a little clue of what was going on, what prosecutors know. First degree premeditated murder is one, so I guess that would mean that this was planned out.
Yes, absolutely. That they had all agreed on this.
And then torture, the charge of torture. What does that say to you?
That torture would be gratuitous harm and pain to a person that is not part of the killing of the person, as gross as that sounds. That would be something used to motivate the person to comply with your orders, or in the case of really, really mentally bent people, it comes as some kind of sexual enjoyment.
And then there's a charge of unlawful imprisonment. Does that mean that she was alive for a while? What does that mean?
Yeah, according to the charges that I read, they forced her into a car. And at that point, that's unlawful imprisonment. She doesn't want to be in that car. She doesn't want to be with you. She wants to leave. Therefore, you have unlawful imprisonment. Basically, another word for kidnapping.
And then there's assault with intent to cause miscarriage or stillbirth. So does that mean that they wanted to kill the baby?
Not enough to master a creative skill anymore. Now you need to understand how ideas perform. So I partnered with Microsoft to talk about how creative work is no longer just about making, it's about orchestrating. We were taught to be specialists, designers, marketers, videographers, but all those skills are now in service of making content and concepts to be shared and viewed on the internet. This is where structures and systems to connect content to conversion matter. For me, Agent Mode in Microsoft 365 Copilot is a constant companion. For instance, for myself and brands, I use a pillar system measuring content by type by month, using metrics like these to quantify creative choices over time. Whenever we have new data, campaign results, creative tests, Agent Mode in Excel helps me analyze and structure everything.
That mean that they wanted to kill the baby?
I think they are throwing that in just to get a large raft of charges against the person. It would indicate that they believed right away, that the police believed right away, that the intent was to kill the child. And if that is the case, my mind boggles as to what was going on. But so that would be, thrown in there. You're going to throw in everything because some charges can be bargained away. Some charges will be thrown out. So you don't want to leave yourself with too few charges.
And I guess they may not know what the motive was of them doing this. I mean, maybe they put that charge in, but they may not know whether they intended to keep the baby alive or not.
No, that's absolutely true. But I do think they know a lot more than they're letting on.
And then there was another charge. This one was a misdemeanor, removal of a dead body. So, and from what I understand, they still haven't found the baby.
No, they haven't, and that would be the removal of the dead body, which indicates that they believe that they can prove at the time that the baby was dead when they left with the child. And so that indicates to me that one of these four people who've been arrested is trying to save their own butt and are cooperating. There's too much
way too much going
information in what I've seen going to the judge than you would pick up simply from circumstantial evidence or the crime scene alone.
So you think one of them may be turning on the other?
Yeah, I believe that. I don't think the grandfather, or I'm sorry, I don't think the stepfather or the mother are rolling, but I do think one of the other two, the sister and the fiance, one of them has rolled. Is my belief.
Yeah, the sister Kimberly Park arraigned on charges of tampering with evidence, lying to a police officer, and filing a false report.
Right.
So it sounds like she maybe initially was trying to throw the police off of what really happened.
Yes, and then the police take that statement and they make it an official document, and then you have committed the crime of filing a false police report. If I were to guess, I would say that they explained to her very carefully what her future looked like, and she made a decision. You know, we always told them, one of you four is going to get the magic ticket, and if not walk out, at least have a sentence where you're going to see blue sky again before you die. The rest of you are not. And so the first one who makes the deal wins. Everybody else loses.
Basically.
And so that's very, very frequently a strong motivator for somebody, especially one who might not have been completely okay with the entire scenario to begin with.
Yeah, you can't imagine. I mean, who knows? But you can't imagine that these outsiders, that the sister, I mean, again, I don't know, but that the sister and her husband would all four of them be okay with doing something that, you know?
Yeah. I just have no idea how messed up it could be. I mean, we've already seen that there are two people messed up enough to do it. You know, it's possible that there were four where two were messed up enough to do it and two were messed up enough to allow it to be done.
And then I said husband, but it's actually her fiance. The biological sister's fiance was also arrested, but he was arrested on delivering meth with a $1 million bond, which is higher than her bond. What do you think is going on there?
Well, anybody who might be involved, anybody who might have evidence, anybody who might be able to destroy evidence, they're going to want them wrapped up and in a place where they can find them. They want them babysat until they can completely investigate the rest of this case. So they're going to take anybody like that and use whatever charges they have to keep them on ice. And so what you've got with the fiance is it was just a handmade thing to keep him under and keep him in. And the reason he gets $1 million bail is you go to the judge and say he has provided information that we believe is either false or could be valuable to us in a case of this murder where somebody had their baby cut out of their body. Judges are very good about saying, I think $1 million bail sounds good.
They look at the bigger perspective, sort of.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And,
this is obviously just an unusually terrible case, but have you ever had anything like this? I mean, in your career, does anything come to mind?
I've had some pretty horrible cases, but I've not had one. I mean, I had one where a woman had, where family members made her watch as they killed her 9-month-old baby, and then killed her. So yeah, I've had some pretty disgusting cases, obscene cases, but I've not had one just like this.
That must be hard with this case, even, and with the one you talked about too, for law enforcement. I mean, to be dealing with it.
It kind of leaves a mark. I mean, that case I just told you about was 40 years ago, and I can still remember the victim's name and the baby's name. And it just doesn't go away. It's just you learn to live with what you see and what you hear, and decide that you're not gonna let that destroy your life the way it destroyed theirs.
And you mentioned what you see. It was volunteer. There was like this whole volunteer search in this case, and it was volunteers I read that actually found the mom And I was just envisioning like what that must have looked like. I mean, I can't imagine what that must have looked like considering what they did to her, you know?
I would not have wanted to have seen that. And that's, you know, and you have to pity the poor police officers who are investigating this now, because not only are they going to see the crime scene, they're going to see everything. They're going to have to attend and witness the autopsies. They're going to have to do all of this. And at the end of this, they don't get a day off. They just move on to the next case, you know. And sometimes a case like this is something where you need to give them some time and some help to process it.
You mentioned earlier you think that they know more than they're letting on, the police. Why is that?
Well, I mean, when they say that, when they charge moving a dead body, and the body that's there was not moved, and the baby is missing, the assumption there is that they knew that the baby was dead when they left. Well, if you don't have the baby's body, how do you have that information? They also say that she was stabbed and then forced to the ground so they could do this horrible thing. The deal is, if you just want to tell the judge they took her to the woods and did this, the judge isn't going to ask you, oh, really, what happened first? How did they? No. What they did is give information that would indicate to a law enforcement officer and maybe a judge that you have either first-hand witness or second-hand witness testimony about what happened. And I can't see that the stepfather would be talking to anybody, but the mom might talk to her daughter, and the daughter might know what happened, because the fact that they say she was stabbed and then forced to sit down or lay down, that to me indicates that somebody described the process and the timeline of the actual attack. And to me, that means somebody's cooperating, and might have been a kind of a nod to the judge saying, hey, we know more than we're telling you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that this sister and her fiance could actually be like co-conspirators in this?
Yeah, they could be co-conspirators before the fact or after the fact. They could be co-conspirators they could be accomplices, before or after the fact. They could have been co-conspirators and been part of this whole thing because they were all in the meth business and the meth use business together. So that's a distinct possibility. But it's also a distinct possibility that they became accessories after the fact, meaning that they found out information about the crime, learned what had actually happened, and not only didn't tell the police, but gave them false information to send them off in a different direction. So one of the two, I believe, is true, or they wouldn't be in jail.
And just one other thing I thought of with the torture charge. I mean, there's a lot of stories that I've covered where people are killed, and it seems like they're almost like tortured a little bit, or put, mentally tortured before it actually happens, and you don't actually see a torture charge. Is it unusual that they're charging torture?
It's unusual when they charge torture because it's so hard to prove. Because torture, you have to prove not only that they did a very specific act, and you have to prove their motive for doing it. If, for instance, you just the act of taking a baby out of a pregnant woman, you could possibly call that torture. But if you were trying to sell the baby, it would actually be part of your horrible, disgusting, obscene plan, but not necessarily meant to cause pain to the person. Torture, you could say, well, it can't be avoided. This is what we're going to do. Torture is an intent to create pain and anguish on the person. And so it could have been that if this person was not complying, if the victim was not complying, that they were using the knife to motivate her.
And that's it.
Never sue the other driver after.
I'll see y'all later.